Hey, my name is Spencer. I'm one of the founders here at BuildBetter, and I'm going to give a quick demo of the product itself. I'm going to try and keep this as quick as possible. First and foremost, what are we solving? Why are we solving it? Who are we? Who's this for? All that kind of good stuff. So we started this company about 3 years ago, and the whole focus was how do we help new remote hybrid product teams build better products in this new era? We're seeing the demand on product teams more than it's ever been, new roles like product operations taking off within these organizations. And there's just a lot of redundancy and operational work and time that is being spent in doing product that isn't really the core aspect of product that we love. It's a lot of operational work, a lot of mundane work, and we wanted to automate that. So we started this company with AI in mind. How do we use the latest in technology to automate this? And with the advent of all of these calls now being recorded, because we're a remote team, we saw a fundamental shift in how product teams were being built and how those product teams built products. So that's the core concept behind BuildBetter is how do we automate a lot of the product operational labor that we often have to do when we're making product decisions, when we're building products, when we're working with our teams in a hybrid or remote kind of fashion. So let's highlight kind of 3 core experiences that we want to go over in this super quick demo. Hopefully my energy will keep us through it. So we have chat, and then we have calls, and then we have projects. So to start off, we have a chat experience. You might be familiar with talking with AIs in the past. This one's a little bit different. So the most important thing when you think about building a product assistant or assistant in general is context. It needs to understand what it's talking about, who it's talking to, and with your call information and your call data, one of the most valuable assets at your company, it can now do that. We can now ask questions about what are customers complaining about? What are issues that customers are bringing up? Or I need to write a PRD. I need to write a scoping document. I need to do this. I need to do that. And it can help us provide answers or at least guide us in the right direction based off of information from calls. Now, this isn't just a run-of-the-mill assistant just with context. This is embedded with thousands of pieces of information around how to build great products. And so when you start using it, you'll see sometimes it's able to make really great suggestions around strategy and road mapping and structure and all these kinds of things. So let me kind of start off and show you a few examples. So here's one about pricing. So I asked it, do premium products need to use add even pricing or charm pricing, or can it make premium products feel cheap or cheaper products? And it gave a really thoughtful answer. And now I'm going to pause here because I actually want you to read the responses that these assistants are generating. These are really good responses, and that's really what matters. A lot of AI demos are fast scrolling and generating content. The amount of content it generates is not that important. It's the quality of the content it generates. So let's think about another example. What are our customers' favorite things about BuildBetter from onboarding? So we have the concept of tags inside of BuildBetter, and I can use the tag to effectively reference all of those calls in a question. And you can see here that it's using the call retrieval. So it's going to go through all the calls that I've tagged as onboarding and ask this question and find relevant information and then provide a thoughtful answer. And again, I will let you kind of read through the responses here about why customers love BuildBetter and what they're saying about the product itself. Now, what's important to note is don't just take my word for it. We have citations at the bottom here, and this will give us all the relevant information about times that this has come up in conversations, and I can click on this and find that information right from the call itself. So that is the core experience for chat. There are a ton of things you can do. You can drag calls into the chat, ask questions to the transcriptions of those calls. You can drag and up to 10, 20 calls into the chat itself, find groupings, themes, topics. This thing has a 50-page context window, which means that you can copy and paste surveys that you've done with customers and then ask it, what's a general theme? What questions should I ask next? What problems are customers having? What's the average response rate of a good or a bad? It can consume a ton of data. So that's the chat experience, and we're super excited about that. Let's hop into calls. Now, calls you can, of course, filter by specific titles and names and dates and whatever you might have within the calls itself. But let's kind of hop down and let's dig into a call here. So this is a call that we had with one of our investors. And you can see here that I've made it private, which means only I have access to this call itself. And then I can also not make it referential to anyone else inside the company. So once I make this private, even if you asked a question about Wendell or title here, you won't be able to access this call unless you're me. We take privacy, and we'll talk a little bit about that at the end, very seriously. And we want you to have confidence that when you make something private inside of BuildBetter, no one has access to it. So you'll see here that we have tags. Tags are just that. It's an easy way to sort and group conversations, but we will talk about how we use tags to generate project briefs in just a minute. So we'll see here that we have summaries. Now, these summaries, we call them copy and pastable summaries. They are so good. The reason they're so good is they're focused on what product teams need, what types of information product teams need to extract. We have worked with some of the best product organizations and understood what structure is important to you. Now, you might be thinking, sure, this type of call needs this structure, but this other type of call needs another structure. Don't worry, we have over 15 different types of structures that our assistant will summarize the call with. And because of the type of assistant that we've done, a lot of proprietary technology around how we retrieve information from calls, we are able to generate truly an amazing summary. So I'll let you kind of read here kind of what we're thinking about, obviously, towards our future and our vision, but just also how good this summary is. This isn't your mom and pop summary where it gives you 3 sentences at the top and then a few tags and says, here's a little brief about what happened. This is a copy and pastable summary you can send to your team, you can give to your organization, and people can catch up on this information. The biggest difference that we see between us and, let's say, a standard call recording tool, not focused on product teams, not focused on the operational work that we're so heavily focused on, is they just don't understand kind of the information that often teams need. And they're not able to provide that kind of context that makes this asset so valuable. People actually come back to BuildBetter to look at calls rather than just leaving it in a folder or an application to come back to later on. So we're really proud of how often people come back to calls within BuildBetter. So that's calls and that's summaries. Summaries is probably my favorite and definitely our most used feature and experience that we have to date. Now, of course, you can upload existing calls. You don't have to use our assistant to record your conversations, but let's hop into projects. Now, Projects was just released, and we are so excited about this experience. Projects allows you to tag calls with the specific idea or concept, and then get an automatically updated brief from that project itself. So, for example, if I had a conversation, we had a bug the other day about a specific topic, I was actually only on one of these calls. But because someone on the team tagged the other calls with this project tag, it automatically updated this brief and gave me a lot of information about what's going on. What were the customer complaints? A summary. What were the next steps? Recommendation, technical specifications. Were there any blockers on anyone on this team? So you can imagine how you can use this project brief to automatically update things like stand-ups with engineering. We also have more long-term things like discovery calls, research, onboarding calls, specific features. So as long as you tag a call with the right tag, we will automatically update those briefs with all the information relevant. And we do such a good job at making sure that when you're on a call and you're talking about 7 different projects and you add that call to one project, we only take the information related to that one project itself. Now, that is the core of BuildBetter. We went over chat, calls, and projects. I am so excited to get you into this product and get your feedback. If you have any questions, you can email our support at support@buildbetter.ai. Now, quickly, for those of you still on, I wanted to quickly talk about privacy and our security. Now, you can find all of our documentation for SOC 2, HIPAA, and GDPR compliance at trust.buildbetter.ai and read through the documentation on how we think about privacy and how we process data. Some of the highlights is we never use your calls or any of the information to train these much larger models. We have personalized and custom models for as much tasks as we can to keep that stuff on our servers and to make sure that that information is never logged or has a chance of being logged. We also are working as hard as we can to get as many compliance things as we possibly can, which is why we care so much about HIPAA compliance. We felt like if a doctor could trust someone talking to a client or a patient on our service, then that's kind of the scrutiny that we want someone to have with our product. We understand that this is the most valuable asset in your company, and you want this information to stay private and be private. So not only do we take security and privacy really seriously, where we make sure that your calls are yours, you have access to your data, your customers have access to delete their data through requests to you through us, and we are happy to comply with any local, states, and federal regulations that might come up in the future. But not only that, we go above and beyond to make sure privacy feels compelling inside of our product. We want to make sure that when you make a call private, when you have a conversation or something happens inside of a call that maybe you don't want everyone to have access to, maybe it's a secret project or it's just a one-on-one, we make that incredibly easy to make these things private and to make these calls to the right permissions as possible, making sure that you can add the right people, take away the wrong people, and share this with the people who have access. So that is a quick high level on how we think about privacy. You can, of course, again, read more at trust.buildbetter.ai. We are here to answer any questions, to help you onboard, to do calls. We can do a deep dive into any one of these experiences and features. The first thing I would make sure to integrate either Google Calendars or Zoom so you can get your calls automatically uploaded and recorded. And of course, if you have existing calls, you can just go to the calls page and then just click on upload in the upper right-hand corner. To invite your team members, just go to the account settings and then members, and you'll be able to invite your team members here, which is also where you can do the integrations with the other call platforms to do your recording as well. Now, again, that is the high level. We are so excited to get you into BuildBetter, and please reach out if you have questions or feedback. We are here as often as we possibly can. We're not 24 hours, but we'll wake up if you email us. We'll try our best. So please let us know. We are here to help, and we are so excited to get you into our product. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.